Hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are back to Star Trek Adventures, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Jeff laughs at my hello. How rude is that?
It's more than
core
throwing
part
the
of
head.
me.
You just threw your head the way you're like, hello. You just threw your head back. It was cracked me up. It was weird.
Jeff, this is just who I am, and you're making fun of me as a person. That's just.
I've been making fun of you as a person for years. I don't know why this is.
I know. That's what I appreciate about you. Uh, we're gonna jump right in here. We are in the middle of a mission. We've had a couple weeks off, but I think everyone remembers exactly what happened, and if not, I will not remind you. Captain's log, supplemental. The away team has made contact with personnel on the Angstrom base. The staff appear to have been infected with an unidentified parasite that inflicts extreme pain upon its hosts. It is still unclear if any staff have not been infected. The outpost still lacks power, and our away team has yet to recover the base's research data. The nearby star continues to lose stability with each passing hour, and to make matters even more complicated, 2 Cardassian Galor-class cruisers are approaching the system at high warp. We are going to pick up the moment we left off last session. The 5 of you are in the Angstrom research base. You are in front of the doors to the operations center, and on the floor around you are 5 personnel of this staff who are either unconscious or they are writhing and convulsing in pain as you have disabled them. They have all been infected with this parasite that you have briefly gotten a glimpse of. You still haven't quite pinned down what it is, but you have an inkling of some stories of what it could be. There are red lights that are flashing, klaxons occasionally blare in the distance. What are you doing?
We need to we need to move past this. We still need to recover this data. We need to figure out who else is alive. Let's restrain these members so we can medically evacuate them. But remember, this isn't a rescue mission. First and foremost, it is about recovering that data and making sure it does not fall into the Cardassians' hands.
So you've been getting going about restraining them as best you can using whatever resources are available. We're not going to require a check for that. We'll be able to say you're able to do that. They're not able to fight back. After you have them restrained, you are still at the doors to operations. They are closed right now. The base is still on emergency power. What's the next order of business?
So do we know the route that we're taking? Like,
you have already arrived at operations, which was your end goal. You're in the hallway directly outside of it.
Can I try to use my tricorder to just sort of scan for any kind of localized life signs or like through the door, anything like that?
Yes. So you've been scanning life signs already, and it's been very difficult. You've been getting conflicting numbers. Scanning immediately across the door, you're getting your own life signs as well. You try to isolate as much as possible, specifically in operations. And as far as you can tell, in that small section, there are no life signs.
Okay. So Danko will say that we'll kind of relay that information, but then he'll also remind everybody, as Jeff is now reminding as well, that one of the traits that I came up with is that these things are stunnable with kind of flashing kind of UV light, which you can like kind of modify your tricorder to do. So he'll basically get his tricorder ready to go, what he had, previously when we fought these, so that whenever Zharg opens the door, like he has this kind of as the ready in case the scan of life signs is still wonky and there's actually something in there.
And because specifically you said you're scanning for life forms, I know you said that you're scanning a smaller section, but we can say that you also connected to readings from, you still have contact with the Intrepid. The Intrepid has excellent scanners. Your previous readings of this base were either 24, 47, or 942 life forms. That number's changed a bit. Now, as you're picking up your tricorder, you're seeing that it reads 23, 44, and then 921. All three numbers have gone down by differing amounts.
Right, and it rotated around, right? So like it's like the number when we're scanning it rotates. Like it says 23, and then it changes and it
starts
becomes
at that.
44.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And is there mathematically there's a pattern, right? Like I'm not sure whether like we're talking about like whether it's multiples, whether it's.
It doesn't seem to be overtly a pattern. It very much could be, but it changed by 1, 4, and then 21.
Okay. So, okay.
I'm sorry, 1, 3, and then 21. I miscounted. So yeah, there's very much a pattern there.
Yeah, there appears to be a pattern. Yes. Okay.
I'm not a computer.
How dare you?
I just play one on Twitch.
Okay.
Computer, do math.
So can Hessel be helping Zharg with the door, trying to figure this door out?
There is still emergency power throughout this base. Some bulkheads are permanently sealed, but most of the doors have been working. If you try to open this door, it will open. You can check it's not locked.
Okay, I think I want to open the door, but first I want to put my ear up to it. And I don't know how thick these doors are, so would I be able to hear if there's anything directly on the other side?
That creates an interesting question, because these doors do kind of are motion activated. So if you put your ear up to it, would that open? I think it's safe to say that you could override it to make sure that it does not open when you come closer. You put your ear up to it, listening through the steel of the door, and doesn't appear to be any overt noises. There's no repetition or anything like that. It doesn't sound like anyone's moving on the other side.
Okay, then I will have I think I brought a phaser type 2, so I'll have that ready, and I will open the door and immediately start sweeping as trained.
You open the door, and operations is a very large room. There is one wall that's just a massive window with a view of the crater outside. The room itself is a nightmare. An engineering nightmare. Not only are there 2 dead bodies in here, but a lot of damage from phaser fire, and very little appears to still be operational. You look at some of the consoles. There's one operations officer that's sprawled over the console. A pool of dried blood sits over the controls. There's another officer that's severely burned by phaser fire near the window. The window itself looks like it's not entirely stable, as it also took numerous phaser hits. Looking through the window in the crater, you can see that there are bits and chunks of wreckage from the explosion that rocked the tram line that almost threatened to crash your shuttle as you were coming in. What are you doing?
Dr. Talas would still like to look at the bodies, would still like to investigate them further and see if they were, I guess, eggified or normal.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dr. Talas, you go up to which one? The one on the control panel or the one by the window?
We'll start with the control panel. I assume that's the closer body.
It's fitting that it's you then, Dr. Talas. You move up to this body, and she very clearly has been killed by some sort of bladed weapon. There is a slice that goes through her abdomen. You turn her over to get a better look at her, and you recognize her. This is Operations Commander Elro Wellgren. How do you know her? This is me putting you on the spot. I rolled for you.
Fair enough. I probably went to Starfleet Academy with her. Different departments, obviously, medical versus command, but we were around the same parties, the same people, friend of a friend situation.
Yeah, and you would know that she was very good at her job. She had her choice of a lot of different posts. How she ended up here likely was something that she was very much interested in. You know that a lot of the research here is classified, which means that it could be cutting edge. It could be that this was a dream job for her, and unfortunately it has led to her death.
You'll kind of see Dr. Halalis kind of turn towards the rest of the group. Bruh, I totally knew her. And then Talas will like lay her a little bit further on the ground and sort of make sure her eyes are closed. Fucking tragedy, man.
Alice, I'm very sorry for your loss. And Hessel will kind of be going over to, kind of the display and kind of trying to see what we can try to get kind of working here.
Absolutely. Talas, one last thing. As you were looking at Commander Welgan, the only injuries she seems to have sustained were the slice on her abdomen. She did not have any puncture wounds noticeable that you see.
Can I tell what type of blade it would have been?
I don't think you'd be able to tell what type of blade. It was very sharp, whatever it was, likely a weapon with the way the arc was, but you wouldn't know exactly what blade it is.
All right.
Commander Hessel, you go up to the consoles, and unfortunately main power is down, which means that the main computer is offline as well. There is backup power, and there is limited access to these consoles. If you would like to try and learn more about the status of the base, that would be an insight engineering task.
Insight engineering. Okay, that would be.
And it's difficulty 3.
Okay. Insight engineering is 13. Looking at my focuses, I have troubleshooting.
That would absolutely work.
Okay. That is a 6 and an 8. Mm-hmm.
2 successes, or is that?
Yeah.
Did you get under your focus at all?
I didn't. Nope, just 2.
All right, so that's 2. You needed 3. Unfortunately, that's not enough. You can tell that main power is down. Likely the base's main reactor is down as well. You have no idea why.
We're going to gather any information from these systems. We're going to need to divert power. This cannot be done here.
There'd be a way to check on the status of the main reactor or remote start it?
There's no way to remote start it.
No,
Checking
okay,
on the status is what Hessel just tried to do.
Of the main reactor? I thought she was just trying to log in.
She was trying to just understand why the power was down.
Okay.
So we'd have to probably go to where the reactor is to get
engineering is not
there.
too far away. There are a lot of crew quarters nearby and ops here, especially for the command staff. They're close to operations. Engineering is just down the hall.
I have an okay-ish engineering score, so I could go to engineering and just keep in contact with everyone to try to get the reactor going. Well,
I could go with you.
Dvorggern,
we should probably not.
Also,
we should probably not split up too much.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's good.
Dvorggern, you could also try to access these terminals, but because Hessel already tried, I'd say the difficulty would go up to 4.
We do have some momentum, which I had forgotten to utilize. So,
yeah, if I spend 1, I would get 3 dice. Is that correct?
Yes.
Actually,
you don't have to. You absolutely can go to engineering.
We have an extra momentum because I have backup plans as a talent. So whenever myself or an ally fails a task, as long as we're present in the scene, can add a point to the group's momentum pool. So my failure adds a momentum to the pool since we're all together.
So if you spend all 3 of those, you could get 2 more dice, basically.
Yeah. I think I only packed 3 on my desk today. I lost my thing of dice. Oh, no, just kidding. Hold on. I hid them from myself. Okay, sure. Why not? I'll take all of the momentum since normally I do not.
All right,
All right,
so that's
I'm
what
rolling.
Wipes you out to 0 momentum.
I got it.
I have 3 plastic dice and 1 metal dice.
Do you have a focus on this that you're trying to use?
Yeah, I was wondering if I could use... I don't know if security systems would be related enough to this.
This is engineering. It's not necessarily security
What about
that's blocking the power.
Okay, could I make an argument for strategy? We're trying to strategize by turning the power on to give ourselves stratagems.
I appreciate the hustle, but I'm going to have to say no on this one.
That's fine. I have no focuses then. I'm unfocused. Okay. I need to get under a 13 because if it's inside engineering, my insight's 10. So, and if I match my engineering score, it's 2 successes, correct?
No, it's a 1 is 2 successes.
Oh, it's never mind.
You didn't have any focuses. If you had a focus, you would match your engineering.
I have. Okay, then I don't know if I think I might have done it. Hold on.
If you have a focus, you get a double based upon if you roll equal to or lower than whatever skill basically you're rolling.
Can you tell we're rusty?
Yeah, matching the number doesn't do anything. Matching the number doesn't do anything. So.
All right, here's my last hustle attempt. This is a Starfleet base, right?
Yeah. I believe in you.
I have Starfleet protocol, so clearly there's some kind of protocol on how to kickstart a generator.
So Starfleet protocol actually would apply to this.
Okay.
Not because of kickstarting a generator, but I'll tell you why if you succeed.
Okay, so I will then. So then, with my Starfleet protocol, I have a 3, a 6, a 10, and then I think the last one was a. Is this a 7 or an 11? It's 17.
17. Okay, so what was your focus then? What was your engineering?
My engineering is a 3.
3. Okay, so you had a 3 already,
Yes.
which counts as 2 successes.
So I think I
6,
just got it.
And a 10, so that's 4
10.
total, right? Because you were looking for a 13?
Right.
And the 17
Correct.
is a fail, but that's 4 successes. You had difficulty of 4 that just barely made it. So you're looking through, and Hessel, you're going through the standard procedure of trying to reboot the system, trying to reroute power. Unfortunately, none of that's working. Dvorggern, you start like pulling off a panel underneath and start checking out wiring, checking out what wires have power, which wires don't. And you figure out that it is Starfleet protocols that have shut down the reactor. The base is on backup batteries. You don't have any momentum to ask extra questions, but you can tell that there was some sort of breach in engineering, that a reactor breach, which means that engineering is potentially dangerous right now.
Okay, so for the sake of brevity, we'll say that I'm relaying what I understand just from my perspective, because I'm sure Danko's can already have a rapid hypothesis coming. Now, because I don't think I've really focused on this when I do actions, how do values play into the things we do or don't do? Because I'm curious if this helps me at all or adds anything.
Values play into your determination. That's how you regain determination and things like that. Determination can be spent. Determination can be spent after a roll to re-roll dice. It can be spent before a roll to set a dice automatically to 1.
But I guess more of what my question is. So, like, what I'm thinking is one of my values is I must prove myself. So, in this situation, I cannot recall how we regain determination. Is it by like holding to our values?
So you gain determination when your immediate goals conflict with your values or directives, which is like a mission based thing. So like when a value or a mission directive would make your task more difficult, then your GM could ask you to sort of challenge or comply with that value. And if you comply, you basically there's one specific way that goes, and if you challenge it, there's a different way, which is I think what Argent did last.
Yeah. Okay.
And now your mission directives are retrieve the stellar research data at all costs and prevent the base from falling into enemy hands.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that.
So like if we kind of went against that directive and tried to save people, then we're essentially kind of conflicting with the directive at that point. So
you've figured out that there is a reactor breach of some sort in engineering. Engineering is likely dangerous. You don't know the extent of how dangerous it is. You all are wearing environmental suits, though, so that would provide you a modicum of protection. What's your next step?
So there's no power in this room per se, right? Like
there's
nothing.
Backup power.
Yeah, and is it? So is the backup power is insufficient for us to access the terminals and kind of download this data, or?
The main computer is offline because it cannot be supported without the main power. So essentially, you just have emergency access right now. So you have more access than you did before. You can access like emergency bulkheads and things like that, emergency atmosphere controls, and the majority of the battery backup power is going to this station's stellar shields. This is on a planet that has no real atmosphere. It's very much open to radiation and things like that from the sun, which you know is very unstable right now already. Most of the backup battery power is going to maintaining those shields, which are also why you can't transport in and out right now, because those shields are up.
But we need to get main power back up, and we need to guard the ops center from any Cardassian intrusion. We also need to figure out how we're going to make sure the station doesn't fall into enemy hands when we pull out. I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem with the sun getting ready to explode, but
as a reminder of your times, from when you last spoke with the Intrepid, you have about 3.5 hours until the Cardassians reach the system, and then you can assume another 30 minutes at least 30 minutes for them to land if they decide to land in the research station. You also have about 10 hours until the star begins throwing stellar mass into the system, which would make it too dangerous for the Intrepid to stay.
Weird question. The radiation shield, the solar shield on this base, how does it function? Is it just like one big bubble? Like, does it function in one piece, or is it kind of like, different panels of energy or whatever?
A bubble is more likely the accurate answer, but it wouldn't necessarily be a perfect like half sphere or anything like that. It would be essentially targeted around the station itself. And remember, the station is in two halves, one on the dark side of this planet, one on the light side, and then there's a tram that connects the two. Or essentially, there were two tram lines. One of them exploded. There is one tram line left. So there are multiple shield deflector rays across there that essentially shape the bubble to the size of the station.
Could I bias more? Because you were saying that the power right now is sustaining the shields. I have deflector operations as like one of my focuses. Would there be a way for me to take power away from sections that we're not in, or that don't necessarily need it, and then
you absolutely could shut down parts of this deflector shield. You could also weaken it. What that would do for you is that you would be able to turn on the main computer briefly for a bit. The problem is the longer that deflector shield is down, the more radiation damage that the station is going to take, essentially subjecting you all and anyone else in this station to massive amounts of radiation. That doesn't necessarily mean immediate death, but it does mean that there will be consequences as each minute tacks on.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was just like rerouting it to make the zone smaller so that we're protected, but then other sections that don't need it don't have it. Zharg
you absolutely could do that. Like, you could try to shut off sections for like parts of the tram line or on the other side of the station. The problem is you don't necessarily know if anyone's in there, and you could be subjecting someone to that radiation.
Yeah, true. Okay.
So it feels like we need to go to engineering.
Let's get to engineering.
Agreed.
Let's get the power back up. We've got 3 hours before the Cardassians get here. I want to have this information and be gone before they arrive.
All right. So as a group, you're going to engineering? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
No one should go anywhere alone.
Agreed.
We totally should look for more survivors on our way too.
You leave operations through the same door that you came out of. There are still the 5 survivors that are restrained in front of the door. They are currently still unconscious. It's only been a few minutes that you've been in operations. And you head down the long hallway to engineering. There are only a few locations on this third floor: engineering, operations, and then a few crew quarters for the people that are necessary for those to run the people that have to be there within a moment's notice for either operations or engineering. The engineering doors are large bulkhead doors that are very thick, very much meant to withstand a blast if there was any sort of problem. They are currently sealed right now. I'm going to assume that you already have your tricorders out as you're scanning things. You are getting signs of stellar radiation, not dissimilar from the sort of stellar radiation outside of the shields. There's some sort of similar reading as the same sort of gas, the elements that makes up the Dvorggern star out in the system.
Well, but we're in our EV
We're in
suit, so I mean that would
suits,
protect us against stellar
Yes,
radiation. So.
absolutely would protect you from these sorts of readings.
Okay.
Opening the doors, though, would mean that it could release that.
It's a risk we're going to have to take. We've got to get main power back on. We don't have a chance of saving anybody or this data if we can't get power back to the station.
Just have to move quickly.
Let's go as quick as we totally can. Let's ride the waves.
All right. So with purpose, you open the doors and immediately begin moving in. As the doors begin to slide open, this green-yellow gas begins billowing out. This gas that had completely filled engineering, and it begins moving out through the hallway and begins spreading out through any sort of bulkhead doors that aren't closed. This gas is not immediately deadly, but if it is there long enough, it will. If you breathe it long enough, it will cause problems. And I'll go ahead and say that the people that you restrained, you go ahead and put them in operations. So that they have a door so that they're not immediately being covered by this gas. You all are very competent. You've been in Starfleet for some time. So they're not in immediate danger. But the longer that this gas continues billowing, it will fill up the entire station here. So you are in a time crunch to be able to seal off whatever the leak is happening.
Let's move in, shut the doors behind us.
Behind us, exactly.
That's what I was thinking too, yeah.
All right, you move in, you shut the doors behind you, and you immediately see the problem that there is a ruptured tank in engineering. You can tell that there's some sort of inversion drive, and there is a tank here that held stellar gases. As you're moving through, you're reading the panels that are still going. You have emergency power here, so you can see all of the emergency data. There is a tank that just ruptured. It looks like it exploded outwards because it was under too much pressure. There were emergency cutoffs that took over, but the damage had been done, and it's still very much leaking.
Steven, we're in engineering. Does that mean there are emergency repair kits in here?
Yes, absolutely. And you're wearing environmental suits, so you can move through and you can see a little bit easier. Your eyes aren't going to be burning or anything like that from the chemicals, but there is still this yellow-green gas that makes things cloudy, makes things a little bit more difficult to see. The actual engineering room is a very familiar layout. Starfleet tends to have things in similar places wherever you go. That way it's just second... it's like subconscious where you go to find whatever repair kits and tools you need. You absolutely can find everything that you need to repair engineering in this room. We are going to be doing a challenge here. And the first step needs to be sealing this ruptured tank. So you'll be able to find welding kits and extra panels and things like that, but nothing can be done to repair this drive while this tank is ruptured.
Talas would immediately be going for those emergency kits, like as soon as we're through the door.
All right. So Talas, if you're going to seal the ruptured tank, someone can help you if they want, but it's going to be daring engineering.
Daring engineering. Okay, so that would be a 12 for me if anybody wants to help out. I also have improv as a focus, which I think would apply here.
I have troubleshooting as a focus, but I'm worse than you with this.
I'm not sure how stand-up comedy applies.
I've got 10. I've got 10 in total, and I've got team dynamics as a focus. But yeah, not as good as.
Yeah, I have 13 in total, but I don't think any of my focuses would apply.
Okay.
So I don't think I would have the opportunity to.
Talas then.
Okay.
All right. I will allow improvisation as you're trying to weld a panel on here that wasn't necessarily meant to go on this tank. You are improvising.
Can it be musical improvisation?
No, I can sing a song while I do it. I can definitely do. I can do the terrible song again.
If you sing an original song, I will give you an extra die.
Star Trek. I don't know.
All right.
Across the universe.
So it's daring engineering here to try and start welding this immediately. Hessel, you are helping. How are you helping?
I have troubleshooting. So I would say that I am I've got troubleshooting and survival. And then I know I'm not challenging this, but I do have sometimes you just have to improvise is one of my values. So I'm not going against it, but it's easier for me to see what materials aren't supposed to be used for this thing, but could work for this thing. So that's how I'm envisioning my assistance.
Fantastic. So let's get the assistant die rolled first.
Okay, so I'm just rolling one, right?
One die, yes. And it's daring engineering. Your focus will apply troubleshooting.
I rolled a 1.
All right, so that's 2 successes if Talas succeeds on this. I didn't tell you the difficulty. It's difficulty 3.
Difficulty 3.
So you already have 2 out of 3 right now.
And I don't have. There's momentum was all used up, right? We don't have any momentum left.
Correct.
But you can give him threat if you want to.
You can give me threat.
No, I've got 1 determination left, which would get us past it. And I'm going to do that because this is risky. So I'm going to use 1 determination to roll a 1 on one of my dice and roll my new Norse Foundry speckled jade that looks like outer space dice that I'm a little bit braggy about right now. Let's see if it actually likes me. I rolled a 5. So that is not below my engineering, but it is below my requirement.
All right, so that is the 3 successes you needed. 5? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed.
2 for Melissa, 2 because I used my last determination, and 1 success.
Bad. Sorry, I started thinking about pretty dice and I got distracted. That's your fault.
So it is really pretty. Look at it.
All right, so that's 5 total. That's 2 momentum that you're building up. I, however, have a giant pile of threat, and I'm going to spend them. And I already had this written down, so I'm not targeting either of you, but I am targeting both of you. So I'm spending 4 threat here to cause 2 complications. As you put up these panels and you start welding, there is another pressure buildup, and one of the panels just bursts. And the metal begins to splinter and break out, and both of your environmental suits are torn because of this. They are providing some protection, but that gas is beginning to leak in. You rip that panel off. You're able to put the next panel up because there's plenty of supplies around here. You get this one welded on before that pressure builds up again. The ruptured tank is sealed. However, with every I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the interval that happens, you are going to be taking 1 stress.
Talas,
that is the first step.
Talas, Hessel, withdraw back to ops. You're compromised. We'll handle the rest of this here.
Yeah, totally. Here, Hessel, take some potassium iodide as well, just in case. We'll head out.
Acknowledged. Hessel goes with Talas.
All right, Talas, Hessel, you immediately withdraw from engineering. You open the doors again. Gas begins billowing out a bit more, but the bulkheads close behind you. And that leaves us with Dvorggern, Danko, and Argent in here. And the next step is to prime the reactor. It's not going to be as difficult. The pressure is somewhat controlled. So this is going to be control engineering difficulty 2. Who would like to do this?
My control engineering is 12.
Control engineering is 14.
Okay, then I think
11.
you should do it.
Control is not my thing. I'm losing it in my old age.
Okay.
The shaky hands.
Now, does because I'm priming, I'm giving a prime to the engine. Does the Starfleet protocol still kind of, I guess, relate to this?
I think Starfleet Protocol would actually relate to this because there's a very unique sequence that you would have to go through to prime a reactor.
Okay, perfect. So that'll be my focus. Difficulty 2. I'll take 1 momentum because it just seems too risky to not. And here we go. Okay, I'm glad I took it. I got a 7, a 9, and a 19. None of them were under my engineering score.
Okay, but that's 7, 9, 19. So that's two successes.
Yeah,
it was
two
difficulty
successes.
2. So that is a success. And you can tell that you've got the numbers are looking good for the reactor. The reactor's not actually started yet, but you've got the pressure in the right place. You've got the fusion core primed and ready to go. And that brings us to the next step. But there is an optional step that could happen before this. If you would like, before you start up the reactor, you can try to adjust environmental flow. And what that would do is that could reverse some of this gas that has already escaped and try to help whatever has leaked into the base.
That's interesting. I was actually going to ask you if this room had like a purge valve or something in it.
That's essentially what this is, yes.
Okay. So then, yeah, so Dvorggern would look at Argent and Danko and just kind of say, do we think it's okay?
We've got time. Do it.
Okay. How much
All right,
will this
adjusting
add?
environmental flow is insight science or insight medicine.
So Vice could jump in if it's science. Like,
Yeah,
if that's
I've
the
got
case.
a 13 with insight and science, so I'm
Same.
God, I'd be so good at all of these roles.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I think, yeah, I think he'll step up and he'll be like, I see what you mean. One moment, and then he'll get on the panel and he'll just start kind of going through the readings, seeing if he can figure out like which way things are getting routed and see if there's a way to do it. I don't really have any engineering type focuses. That's the problem. Because I don't think pattern recognition would qualify, or quantum physics, or astrophysics, or xenobiology. Is the gas living?
The gas is a stellar mass material. So I think
astrophysics applies.
astrophysics could apply.
Okay. What's my difficulty?
Difficulty 2.
Difficulty 2, huh? We got 1 momentum. I will use it. I will take it. So I'm rolling 3. All right, so I need a 13, and 5s are under good. Okay, so I think we're good. I've got 3 successes. I got a 9, a 6, and an 11. So those are all under 13, so it's 3 successes.
All right, so that's the success plus 1 momentum, which I assume you're banking, right?
Yeah, I think we can bank. I do want to spend my bonus momentum that I get for whenever I buy a momentum. I get an extra momentum to play with to basically ask a question, because what we're doing is we're purging it out of the engineering room, correct?
Yes.
So I guess my question would be, is it possible to from here either... Is it possible to lower, like, as we're tapping into kind of environmental flow, is it possible to lower the collective temperatures across the entire station and just try to crank it low? Because if it's stellar gas and it's radioactive and we're trying to make it more inert, like reducing temp could actually help with that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you trying to think, it costs 2 momentum to make a trait, right?
Normally, yes, but I have like a thing that I do. So like right now, I'm basically spending mine to ask the question is what I usually do.
If you were going to make a trait for that, I'd absolutely allow that. And I'd say that trait would essentially double the amount of time that it would take to cause stress when you're exposed to it.
Okay. So yeah, because the two questions I would have basically asked are the environmental controls accessible, and if so, then my second question, because I get my I do my combo. I asked two questions.
Sorry, I didn't know you were doing the questions. I thought you were just asking, could I make this trait?
Well, that's what I'm eventually trying to do. So the first question was, are the environmental controls accessible? That's a yes. And then would reducing temp actually help lower the thing, lower the interval process?
I don't actually know astrophysics, but it sounds like a really cool idea. So as a GM, I'm going to say yes, that would work.
Okay.
Technically,
in our
it's
universe,
somewhere down around absolute zero, but I think for Star Trek it would definitely work.
It's going to get very cold in here. It's like going to get the thing
60
cold.
degrees in the house. Yeah.
So I want to crank the temp down till it's like the thing. We're in environmental suits, so it's not going to be a big deal for us. So I want to crank the temp down is what I'm eventually going to do. So yeah, that'll be the trait I create, is that I've cranked the temperature down significantly across the.
All right. My mother-in-law is going to be furious. It's got to be 75 minimum, but
well, it's going to be 75. Under 0 is where it's going to be.
75 under 0. Yeah.
I mean 75. We can make it 75 just with a negative in front of it.
So you're able to adjust the environmental flow. That gas begins getting sucked up by these tubes that they fall out of the ceiling. They begin sucking up the gas, and it begins going to these cleaners, essentially. All these sort of ventilations, the scrubbers that'll detox it and able to make it breathable again. It's going to take some time for the entire base to be scrubbed of this gas, but because you kept the doors closed, there's not that much in the base as well. So everyone is fairly well protected, and if there is any more leaks or anything like that, instead of taking a stress every interval, it'll be a stress every 2 intervals. That brings us to starting up the reactor. However, I want to very quickly cut back to Hessel and Talas. As you two, you leave engineering and you're heading back to operations. Is that true?
Yeah, and while we're going back that way, Talas will be keeping their eye out for a space dolly. Star Trek space dolly?
Like a furniture mover
Yes.
type of, okay.
Like a large thing mover thing, but for space stuff.
I'd say something like that would be in engineering.
Closet outside of engineering? Mechanical closet?
Not a lot of mechanical closets in Star Trek.
Supply room somewhere.
I'm breaking Aaron, so I'm doing well.
What's your end goal here?
My goal is to move the 5 survivors because we're not going to easily carry them back to our ship, and I would still like to have them survive.
Okay. Yeah, so as you're heading back to operations, going down the hallway, you are looking for something, anything that'll make it easier to move people. You're not going to be able to fit 5 people in a wheelbarrow, but you're looking for... As you're going down this hallway, you're going past a few crew quarters, and you notice one of them is slightly ajar compared to when you were heading to engineering. You feel pretty certain that it was closed.
Talas will nudge Hessel. Totally, that's different.
Yes, see it. And Scudder. Pager at the ready.
Hypo spray at the ready.
You move towards the door, and you hear what can only be described as a soft squelching noise coming from inside.
I'm going to swap out my hypospray for the tricorder to allow it to strobe light into the area.
Okay. You open the door and move in then?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. This is the largest quarters in the base. It's just outside operations. It's got a beautiful view of the crater. Of course, the crater is now full of wreckage from this base. And it is in complete disarray. Furniture, research dossiers, sculptures are tossed all around. In the center of the bed, there is a research tunic that's stained by sweat, the back of which has been torn off and stained with green blood, maybe? Dr. Talas, you're a medical officer. It'd be
Vulcan.
very, yes, you would be feel very confident that it's Vulcan blood. And then you see a little, a shaking underneath that tunic, a small bit of movement.
All right. Well, I've got my strobe light. You said there's art pieces, it's zh'Azollarh. Is there a long stick-like object?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find
space stick?
a piece of a sculpture that's long enough that you could move, and you give yourself an extra 3-foot reach.
And I will use that to lift up the bit of cloth.
And as soon as you lift it up, there is this flesh-colored cell. I say cell. It looks like a cell, but it is much bigger than any sort of human cell would be, like 14 inches in diameter. And as soon as you lift up that cloth, it goes flying at you. Talas, you're the one who lifted it, so it's going to be making an attack at you. This is a melee attack, so you're able to defend yourself here.
Would like to.
Because you are using the trait with the UV light, I will give you an extra die as well.
Excellent. I like that. I will roll these ones.
So for defending yourself, that is daring security.
Daring security. Uh-oh. Oh dear. Okay, that's like 9 for me. Yeah, I'm not. This is the worst. Worst for
10
me.
for me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a 16, a 19, and a 3. So 1 success.
One success. I got 2. So it flies out, and you have this environmental suit on. It immediately sticks to the chest of this suit, and Commander Hessel, you see this. You see it squelching up. It kind of like constricts and then moves up, and it constricts again and moves up a bit more. As it's moving up, you see that there are scratches and cuts happening through this environmental suit. Hessel, what are you doing?
So Hessel also kind of has the tricorder set to the UV, and so she is going to attempt to get this thing with her phaser.
All right. I will say, because you're using a phaser on something that's on Talas, there is a risk of stunning Talas as well.
Understood. Risks need to be taken.
Okay, I've been promised a space wheelbarrow.
I am looking through my focuses, and I don't really see much that would. I'm not really doing diplomacy. Not really. None of that.
All right. And this is a ranged attack, so it's control security.
It's just wardrobe troubleshooting.
Wardrobe troubleshooting.
Okay, control security moves it up to a 15. So control being pretty good for me. And I'm rolling the extra dice because of the UV, right? So it's 3 dice.
Yeah, give you the extra die for the UV.
Okay. Oh, bugger. Okay, 8 and a 12, so 2 successes. The other one was a 17.
So ranged attack is difficulty 2. So you only needed the 2 successes. You're able to hit it with the stun. And the creature, the parasite, does go flying off from the momentum of the stun. However, it appears that stunning does not actually work the same way on this creature as it does on humans and other beings in the galaxy. But it appears that the stun was enough to drive it off, and it begins squelching across the room, trying to get away. Talas, I'm going to cut to you now. What are you doing as this thing just attacked you? It sliced through your environmental suit, and you see it scurrying towards a vent in the room.
Ooh, yeah, I'm going to set my phaser to not stun. I'm actually going to see if I can't. Oh no, I can't. I first, do no harm is one of my values. So I can't but it would be protecting
You
people.
can challenge a value.
All right, I will challenge a value, which is going to make this like really hard for me. And I will Okay, yeah, greater good. I will try to shoot the egg.
Okay. You try to shoot the egg. That is control security.
That would be a 12 for me. Extra dice for the strobe light?
Yeah. We'll say you already had the tricorder out.
Yes, I did.
It is a little harder to shoot and have the tricorder shining, but we're going with it for now.
I can drop it. Okay, so that is 2 successes. I got a 6, a 5, and an 18.
Okay, difficulty 2 for ranged attack. And that is enough. This creature with the strobe light and with the phaser set to maximum, I assume.
Yes.
You are able to just vaporize whatever this was. There is literally nothing left of it as it disintegrates in front of your eyes. We're going to pause there. We're going to cut back.
You hurt me again, Stephen.
By saying disintegrate?
Well, phasers don't disintegrate things. That's you're hurting me, but okay.
Yeah,
it's because of the gas. No. Because there's the gas that's released. It interacts with the phaser's light wave.
It's a strange physiological aberration of the creature that when it dies, it disintegrates. It's
yeah. That's totally it.
In Star Trek First Contact,
we got there.
There's a point where
supposed to
Picard says
explode.
you had this on maximum and you would have like vaporized me or something like that. Isn't there?
It's because you blow a person that big of a hole in somebody.
Okay. So you would have craterized
Yes, there
this
you
creature then. Is that better, Aaron? Okay. We are cutting back to engineering as a crater is being blown in the quarters there. And you are ready to start up this reactor. So for this, it's going to require control engineering. And this does require a good bit of precision. And you have to do everything in the correct order and make sure levels are maintained. It is going to be difficulty 4.
You said control engineering?
Control engineering.
Yeah.
My control engineering is 12.
Yeah. Like Vice, I mean, I guess we could say it's the shaky hands or something, because if we're talking about like physically attaching various items and things like that's probably not his forte. So he would give that over to one of the younger guys. But he's willing to assist since it has to do with precise order. I would argue that maybe my pattern recognition would kind of pop into play because it's the specific pattern of order. So I would be more than happy to assist.
Yeah. Okay. I have 14 for between control and engineering. So I think that might be the highest.
You're definitely
And
the
I think
best
your
candidate.
protocols would apply here as well.
Yes. It's too bad. I have talents in precision targeting and precision evasion, but that's kind of not relevant to this. All right. We have 1 momentum, so I think it's worth spending that. So I'll have 3 dice.
Yeah, hold on before you roll, Dvorggern. Donko, how did you do?
I rolled a 7, so that's a success. So it would be 1 success if he passes, 1 from me.
All right. So you
We
need
need
3
4
successes
total.
then, Dvorggern.
Oh, yeah. Okay, 4 total, and I need 3.
Yes.
I'm assuming Starfleet Protocol is still going to give me the chance of getting that double roll if I hit 3 or less, right?
Yes.
You can always give him more threat to get
Yeah.
an additional die.
He just used a chunk, so he's not as flush in them.
Do we think it's worth it?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so, because if we fail this, it's probably gonna go. Something will go
Yeah.
bad, or either it'll take longer and then something else will go bad. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So how much threat do I have to give you to get another dice?
2.
2. Okay. I guess we'll do that. And I'm rolling 4. Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Is that
So I got
good?
a 12. Yeah, no, that's good. I got a 12, a 14, a 2, and a 4. I thought I had 2 crits, but it was 1 away. So that's 4 successes total.
And then 1 from me, so 5 in
total.
total.
The O got me excited like you missed it, and I was going to immediately spend those threat that you just gave me.
You
It goes off without a hitch. You're able to go through all the protocols, the procedures, the patterns, required for bringing a reactor online. Hessel and Talas, you're in the other room and you see the lights immediately turn on, so you can see everything in these quarters around you. Dvorggern, Argent, Donko, you see that this engineering room just leaps to life. The red lights dim. You have that warm overhead light again. The klaxons that are going in the distance begin to slowly fade away, and you have mostly brought back power to this facility. There are a couple more things you need to do. I'm sorry, one more thing you need to do, which is just restart the main computer. This is not that difficult, but it needs to go through a certain rebooting process. This can happen here or in operations. It's control science difficulty 2.
I mean, if we're here, I mean, if it's just rebooting and if I'm already like maybe at a terminal monitoring various connections, like I can go ahead and do it then. You said control science.
Control science difficulty 2.
Okay. Is this something I can assist him with, or because I've done something?
You can assist, yes. So Dvorggern, you go ahead and roll 1 die first with your control science.
Okay, and then Starfleet protocol or security systems is either relevant.
Protocol would work.
Cool. Okay. And then, ooh, that's not very good. I got a 17. Sorry, what was it?
That's a fail.
Yeah, I don't think there's any
control science.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 2 off, so I did nothing.
Okay. I'll burn that momentum then, and get an extra die. Okay. And would pattern recognition be okay here, or is that?
Yeah.
Too much
we'll go for it. You're pretty much at the end of this, so I don't.
Okay. I did roll a 1 and a 5 and a 10, nice. So that's 5 successes.
That you only needed 2, so that's 3 that you're banking, or you can spend right now. Main computer is coming to life. You see that all these files are opening up. Lines of data and code are just flashing before you. You now have full access to this research base.
Okay, and with my bonus momentum that I get because I use the momentum to gain something, I basically get a bonus momentum. I have to use it now. It'll go away. So I basically will do like the ask a question thing. I can't remember what it's called. It's not actually called ask a question.
Obtain information.
Obtain information. So I'll spend that, which lets me ask 2 questions. And so I guess the first question I would ask, as we're getting the readings in and we're seeing this come in, are there any like kind of, are there any alerts anywhere with like kind of power fluctuations or something like that? Or is there anything that seems to be immediately odd or concerning?
I think the biggest alert that would come through is sensors from the base are coming through about the atmosphere leak that's happening in that tram line. There's all sorts of data for that explosion coming through that has threatened structural stability of that tram line. You can tell that both halves of the base structurally are okay from the explosion, but there is a atmospheric leak and bulkheads have been sealed, and it has threatened the stability of the tram line that is close to it as well, because there were 2 lines, and the other one is weakened because of that explosion that ruined one.
The second question then would be, how long would I estimate that weakened tram line would remain intact? Like, how long do we have before that might collapse entirely from the atmosphere?
It's a good question. Looking through it all, analyzing, you can tell that it's weakened, but not in such a way that it will break soon. If it takes more structural damage, it'll happen very quickly. But as long as nothing else causes any more problems to this tram line, it is okay for now. If there is any sort of damage from, like if the shields were lowered and it took radiation damage and things like that, it would almost essentially fall apart like paper mache.
Okay. All right. So then I'll like the truth I'll just create for if we decide to ever go down that tram line, would basically be like something along the lines of I don't know, a temporary throughway, like something like that, like where we have confidence that it'll be up temporarily at the very least. Like we know it's not like. I know, I'm pretty terrible at doing like the trait thing. I'm good at the questions now, but I suck at the trait thing.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, though. You do have confidence
Structural
in its structure.
stability.
Structural stability is fine. Yeah.
As long as no one is firing phasers or anything like that, there's not any major earthquakes, it will hold together. If there is the slightest bit of damage to it, though, it'll fall apart.
Okay. All right. And so, yeah, and he's debriefing Argent the whole time with whatever he's like reading.
Real quick, I'm going to remove the main computer down and main power down from the trade list.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Let's move back to ops and get this research data downloaded.
All right. So you have control of engineering. You have control of the main computer. There's still a bit of gas in this engineering room. So as you leave, you seal the bulkhead behind you again and let those scrubbers continue to work. Let's cut back to Talas and Hessel for a moment. You see that power has come back online. You are in what is likely the commander's quarters, the person in charge of this research base, based on the size and the essentially this has such a nice view compared to most places. What are you doing in here?
We have power. I'm going to look for the captain's personal logs.
All right. That would be easy to access the pad that's in there. It's built into one of the desks. As you go to access it, you find out that it is entirely encrypted. If you want to try and crack that, it would be insight engineering.
Sure, I'll do that one for funsies. Not the dice that have betrayed me, though.
Hessel, you could assist with this as well, if you'd like
Okay.
to, or you can do something else.
Yeah, I think I would like to assist if I can. I don't know that I have anything.
I don't have yeah, okay. Just in case. Insight is 9 and engineering is 4. So my total is 13 if you have anything better. I don't have a focus for this.
Hessel, I'm going to tell you that your cultural expert actually would assist with this.
Oh.
Okay. So are you rolling to assist me and I'm rolling?
Yes, I can roll to assist you if you have a higher trait. I am happy to do that.
Okay.
Sorry, my engineering is a 3. And I have the focus.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll just roll. I will see if I get higher to support you. No, I don't help you at all.
Okay.
So I'm rolling 2 dice. I got an 8 and a 7, so my focus didn't help, but I did get 2 successes.
You got 2 successes. It's difficulty 2. So the cultural expert coming into play, you realize as you're going through with the trying to access these encrypted logs that they're encrypted in a way that you are fairly familiar with. This is standard protocol for Vulcans to encrypt their personal logs. It's something that as a communications officer, you would have likely seen many, many times in Starfleet. And it is like a personal password, but when you understand how the protocol works, it's not that hard to break. It's more of a deterrent than anything. It's not meant for extremely highly classified information. And you're able to access these logs that are the exact opposite of the chaos in this room. Whereas everything in the room is ransacked and thrown apart, the logs are orderly and regimented. You can tell that they were made once per day at almost exactly the same time every morning, until about 10 days ago. There is a log in the evening of that day that mentions only, due to the accident, work on the drive has been halted for the day. I have requested a specimen so that I might try to catalog this creature that seems so suited to this environment. And after that day, the logs are erratic. They talk first about samples and an incident, while mentioning great pain in an attempt to maintain logic and focus. All of this is interspersed with Vulcan chants and bits of ritual that are easily identified by you. Whether you speak Vulcan or not, this would be very familiar to a comms officer. A log from 2 days later, after 8 days ago, states only, they know and they must be made one with us. And then the final log is from 4 days ago and states, the pain is clarity. The clarity is purpose. I know what I must do. And I think it's safe to say that around that time, Dvorggern, Argent, Danko, you are moving through the hallway and you see the open door for these crew quarters and you see Talas and Hessel inside. So you've all grouped up.
So Hessel would just have been turning around to the doctor to say, these are exactly the types of logs that I would have expected from a Vulcan in charge of this. But
totally dull, right? Square.
Very, very much so. Oh, yes, I was just updating everyone. It seems that this incursion occurred 10 days ago. This captain, once he was taken over, seemed to have taken on the goals of whatever these creatures were, and she'll kind of repeat back the last few entries from his logs off the pad.
That's interesting. Let's make sure we take that with us, but we need to get back to ops and get this data downloaded. I want to make sure we get this shut down as quickly as possible. If we're going to have any time to find and rescue any crew members before we need to evacuate, we need to get our primary mission done.
Yeah, totally, dude.
And Doctor, you already looked at the captain here, that he is...
no captain, just blood and cloth.
Okay.
While we're...
so you would be able to see that the quarters is labeled Chief Researcher Vital. Which you would know from your personnel records that this was the person in charge of the base.
Got it. Okay.
So I'm trying to remember because it's been a while. When we approached, there was a crater, right?
Yes.
There was an accident. And it was 10 days ago. And we're still wondering how these creatures possibly...
The crater was natural. So that was just a natural crater that the base was built nearby. Okay. Likely because it was a scenic place to build the base.
So we don't have like...
Desolate.
Okay. So we have no specific... No specific idea of what the accident is per se?
Not yet.
Okay. Because I was wondering, because I remember one of the questions we had, one of the things is like how these creatures, because Vice, I remember Danko got a role to know a little bit about the Star Trek, the original series episode. And I remember the question was like how they travel from one place to the next or from one plane to the next, if maybe they hitched a ride on like meteors and crashed or something like that. And I was wondering if maybe that could have been.
Yeah,
but
so
if
you have access to the main computers, you can start going through and trying to piece together data and logs and things like that. Yeah. It'll take some time to do that, but that is something you can absolutely start doing research on.
Once we get back to ops, that'll be exactly what Danko gets on.
The rest of you, anything else you want to do in these quarters?
Is there any sort of space dolly in here?
Not in the Vulcans' quarters, no.
Are you sure?
Vulcans are very strong. They don't need dollies.
There's not like a mechanics creeper in the room.
Doc, if you're worried about getting the survivors out, why don't we see if we can get you to medical and you can take some of the life pods or beds out of medical since they float.
And there is a medical bay on the second floor that you passed out in your efforts to get to ops.
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that. You're totally right. Thanks, dude.
Does it smell like something's been vaporized in here?
Yeah,
There's
it was
smoke coming from the floor.
It actually exploded. It didn't vaporize.
Yes, stunning was unsuccessful at this. Doctor needed to turn the phaser up to maximum in order to take this out.
Yeah.
Well, let's try to limit the rest of the amount of time we have here so we don't have to deal with this too much longer. And with that, Lieutenant Argent goes to ops.
Yeah, and Danko follows.
I assume the rest of you follow as well.
Talas will try to go to medical, actually.
Okay, you're going to have to go down a floor then, which you're able to do. You got main power. You're going to be able to go down the turbo lift. So, Talas, are you going alone to medical?
No, I will go as someone who has a decent shot.
All right.
You don't like me rolling nines.
You make your way to the turbo lift then.
Are you going to inform your commanding officer that of the?
Yes, actually, I was going to like tap him on the shoulder and be like, the doctors, can I accompany her so she doesn't get her face sucked off?
Absolutely. Keep her alive. And if you find survivors, let's try to identify survivors. Make sure they're stunned for transport. and we'll try to bring all of the survivors we can find to a central location up here near Ops.
Understood. Thank you.
Aye, Captain, my Captain.
You hurt me, Doctor. You hurt me greatly.
So
Morgan's
out of
just aghast that she acts like this, and he's just like, I could never do this.
so Talas was attacked, suffered damage from it. Was that visible to all of us?
Oh, the Evo suit got ripped by the egg,
I
which
think it'd
would
be
be
safe to say you
visible,
saw the rip.
but it didn't.
But it would be
Okay.
hard to tell if it was a rip from the engineering that happened or whether it was this attack.
Okay.
Because her environmental suit was compromised twice now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not doing very well.
So Danko is not privy to the fact that it was the egg that did it, so I will not say what I was about to say. Never mind.
Hessel and Talas could absolutely mention that, but they have not yet.
They haven't, so I'm going to play it as if they haven't told us.
Do you want to do a joke? Do you want us to say it so you can do a joke?
No, it's not a joke.
Oh, then I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Hessel definitely would look down at her suit, though, especially as the doctor is now wandering off, and she will kind of look down at the damage to the suit that happened initially. Could use a patch if either of you have anything for that.
We'll have to change out your suit when we get back down to the shuttle bay, Hessel. There'll be EV suits down there.
Doctor took some of this damage, and also, and she'll point to sort of that foul-smelling remains there. She also took a bit of damage to the suit from that before we dispatched of it.
Danko will, like a dog ear, whoosh, just turn around. You're saying she came in direct contact with one of these creatures?
Yes, it jumped on her, and then I was able to stun it off of her, and then it ran, and then she was able to kill it. Yes.
So, can Danko... We've seen multiple people get attacked. We've seen multiple people with, like, slashes and things like that. And we've seen people, like, under some kind of mind control. He's got data from what he knew about the last time. And he's got these numbers about life signs. Is it possible that Vice could try to calculate some kind of maybe incubation period that might transpire between when a person could potentially get infected or attacked by one of these things and when they start losing their stuff, especially since we now have access to those captain's logs and things?
That's a good question.
Pattern recognition.
Pattern recognition, but you don't necessarily have a ton of data on how long it takes to incubate. I would say you could do this now and it would be difficulty, I think, 4. Or if you spend time going through the logs and the research data that's been accumulated, like you said you were going to an ops, granted that'll take more time, that would lower the difficulty.
I'm going to do it now, because especially since they're going off by themselves together, and I don't want anything to happen to Zharg. I don't want her to turn or something happen. So I think I'll try to do it now.
Nothing to do with me.
Yeah, we're going to say difficulty 4 on this, because you don't have a ton of hard evidence.
Yeah, I know. This is pure theory. This is what he does, right?
But that's what you like to do, the hypotheticals, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I should probably tell you what you're rolling, shouldn't I?
Yeah. I was hoping
Danko,
for science.
Insight medicine.
Yeah. Danko, if you drew Talas into a theoretical debate about medicine, she would still help you for that.
Yeah, but you're not there. The two of you have left.
Oh, okay. I didn't know I was that far off. Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't know, because we didn't know about the attack until Hessel said something after the two of you left. So, okay.
Yeah, you specifically said you weren't going to say something. So
yeah,
so I have a focus. I have a focus in xenobiology.
That would count. Yes.
Okay. So you said insight.
Insight medicine.
Take it some momentum.
Couldn't be reason. Can I make a case for reason?
Let me double check my rules here. Insight is about attempting to understand, whereas reason is things that you already know, I believe.
Well, reason's about logic and
reason
meticulous
means.
Analysis.
Yeah, reason is to do with analysis.
So insight medicine says to diagnose a patient's illness or injury from a description of the symptoms, whereas reason is diagnose a patient's illness from a thorough examination. So I think insight counts here.
Okay. But I'm not diagnosing a patient. I'm trying to calculate incubation period. I don't
Which
care
would
how to
be-
treat her. I just
that would
want
be
to
their-
deal with the math.
You're trying to diagnose the illness from a description is what it really sounds like to me.
Okay. All right. I disagree, but I will defer to you. Okay. I'm going to burn all the momentum so I can try to possibly get to 4. So that means I'm rolling 2 more dice. All right. Let's see. Well, I have like complete opposite ends of the spectrum here. I do have a 20. So that is a complication. The rest of them are successes. One of them is a 3, which I think is my medicine. So that would be 2. So 4 successes total and a complication.
Okay, the 4 successes is what you needed. Do you want to try and buy off the complication now or just accept it?
I'll buy it off. Yeah, I'll buy it off because it's just knowledge right now. So
that's giving me 2 threat.
Okay.
All right. 4 successes. Drawing mostly on what you've learned back in the academy about the Denovan incident. From what you remembered and everything that you've seen since aligns with this, is that it only took an instant of contact before that person was infected. Whether there's incubation period for how long it takes for them to be controlled by it, normally the control would have to happen when that infection hits like the nervous system. From where you saw Talas hit, it wasn't like the spinal cord or anything like that. So you feel very confident saying that Talas is infected. How long it'll take? 15 minutes to an hour.
Okay. How long have they been gone?
3 minutes.
Okay, he waits 12 minutes. No, he turns to Commander Argent. And after like this is like calculation like on the spot right after Hessel says what she says. If she was attacked by one of those things, she's more than likely infected. From everything I've been able to gather between the people here, the logs, the data from the Enterprise's encounter, she could be showing symptoms, losing control within the hour, maybe less time.
Damn it. Zharg,
Yes.
return to ops with the doctor immediately. This is not an option. If she attempts to resist, stun her, throw her over your shoulder, and bring her back to ops.
Isn't this on speakerphone?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it doesn't have to be.
No,
It's direct.
we have
links.
environmental suits.
And I am
we
right
have
there
environmental
with him.
suits.
Oh, that's
We
true.
have
We do
environmental suits, so there is some.
Suits would help
Very
muffle.
true. Very true.
Okay, yeah. So, Zharg would be very confused. Be like, "Is everything okay, sir? Are you guys under attack?"
No, it's based on what Commander Danko has said. It is likely that the doctor was infected by one of these neural parasites. We don't know how long it will take for the infection to spread and take control of her. So we want her under wraps while we finish the mission and then find a way to cure her.
Understood. Okay, so if
Dvorggern,
this
you
is
turn and you look over to Talas. And Talas, you're in the turbo lift right next to him, going down. And Talas, you're feeling a burning sensation on your torso where you've been hit.
I'm going to lie to Talas. I'm just going to be straight off the bat. In everything that Dvorggern's seen so far, she has a very noble cause and mission, and so he knows she will not come willingly. So he's going to, he's sweating already because he's uncomfortable, but he's going to turn to Dr. Talas and say, "We have to change course. We need to go and help Commander. They're under attack. They need both of us immediately. One of them's down."
Oh, shit. Yeah. Do I believe him?
Yeah,
Or is there
we're
a roll
gonna do
for
a
that?
presence roll for this, and I think
Oh.
that this would either be I would take either con or security. Con to maintain professional decorum, or security to impress upon someone the danger
I mean, they're both 4s, so I'm going to pick security to impress the danger, since that's my specialty. My presence is doo-doo.
It's okay. Am I counter rolling this, or just we're going based on how many successes Zharg has?
You know, let's do a fun little counter roll. So this would be insight and security, we'll say, to judge whether an individual is a threat or there's potential for a trap.
Okay, and that's 2 dice for each of us, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Unless you want to use momentum.
But you'd have to give me threat to do
Wait, hold on a second.
I'm not
You're
going.
half Betazoid, aren't you?
I am.
Can
So
I use my
empathy.
Betazoid culture focus to get a...
There you go.
Is it a focus? That would mean that you
It's a talent, I think.
No,
isn't it?
it's one
Is
of
it
my
focus?
focuses. I have a Betazoid culture focus from one of my previous missions where I learned about their culture.
So yeah, so if you get under your security on this, it'll count as double success.
Oh, come on, dice. Oh my god, I got 2 3s!
Yeah.
I'm not...
I got 2
wait,
fails.
Both of my hands are up. I will move them.
The green screen gets you. I rolled an 11 and 12. Both of them are above my security and
All right, so
presence.
we'll say that's 1 success is all you needed then to beat Talas, and then 3 momentum can be banked or spent right now if you would like.
I'm too rusty on knowing what to spend it, so I think I'll probably just
bank.
save them. Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Talas, yeah, you believe him.
we gotta go and help them. I've got. And Talas is aware of the burning sensation and is probably also thinking about diagnostics for emergency medicines, but she would go and try to help her friends first.
So as soon as you get off this turbo
advantage of
lift,
you.
You did, yep. I
as
would
soon as you get
totally
off
do
this
it.
turbo lift, you walk right back on the turbo lift, and you head up, and you're able to regroup in ops momentarily. But before you regroup, Donko, Hessel, Argent, you make your way to ops. It's a short walk down the hallway. You don't see any other survivors or staff to harass you. The 3rd floor itself is very centralized. There's just the one hallway between ops and engineering with a few quarters in between. So there's not really that many places for people to pop out of other than Jeffrey's tubes or the turbo lift, which is now working again, thankfully.
Can I try to do the scan? Sorry. Can I try to repeat the scan that we've done before, the life sign scan?
Yes, you absolutely can. It's not hard to do. Essentially, I'm going to say that you're connecting with the Intrepid for the scan because they have the better sensors compared to your tricorders trying to get both halves of the space. And you are getting 23, 44, 920.
Wait a minute.
It's because you killed one.
Oh, 9 2. Oh, gracious. That's a big number of those. So she'll just say those numbers out loud as she's, kind of doing her 23, 44, 920.
Right. So we'll probably either have 23 crewmen or 44 crewmen alive, or 23 uninfected and 44 compromised. And then 920 of these alien parasites. But first, download all the research data and then scrub the computer's memory of the research data. We can't afford to leave it behind us.
Vice would get on that, but one question that he might say this out loud in character, but I think I would also say this like out of character. Vice is a join trill. So with sensor data, do join trill show as a singular or a dual life sign? Does anyone know?
I don't know what the canon response for that would be, but I would say that the Starfleet computer would account for that with the joined trill, and whatever has been decided by Starfleet, it would show up as 1 or 2, but the computers would recognize that and factor that into the count.
I think it actually does show up as 2 because
Yeah.
the biology is different. They're actually an implanted symbiote. So,
So I'm wondering then if kind of playing off of what Argent just said, if one of those numbers, perhaps the first number or whatever, the first number is a number of the joint of those who have been infected in those ways. I'm just wondering if that's possible.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think,
can't we have the Intrepid tighten their scan and just scan for human DNA? Or I mean, like in other shows, like they've scanned for like Vulcans specifically, and when they were trying to find Spock on a Romulan ship or something like that, can we have them try to just scan for just pure human DNA?
I think that's a possibility, but it would require one of you actually setting up a specific type of scan to happen. That would be like a challenge or something like that, where you have to like reprogram sensors to work a different way. It's not something necessarily that you could call Ensign Jim Buck to take care of real quick.
it's not the priority.
Not our problem.
Yeah, now that we have more computers up, can we do a better scan as to where they are? So if we can try to focus on like the 23 or the 44, because there should have been 64, I believe, initially. I think it was 55 plus 9 support crew.
Actually, Melissa, that brings up a great point. So you make it to ops and you start accessing the main computer. And that's when you realize that this facility, unfortunately, does not have the same sort of high-tech internal sensors and recording devices possessed by most starships like the Intrepid. As a result, that sort of information is fairly limited. It's a research base out in the middle of nowhere, so it doesn't require those same sorts of internal sensors. And unfortunately, that also hinders you when it comes to piecing together information about what has happened, because you're not able to go through the sensors and see how like the life form scans have changed over time. So you have to go through almost painstakingly through personal logs and things like that, command logs, to try and piece together a timeline of events.
Then listen, let's just we take the research data, we scrub the computers so there's nothing left. Get back to the shuttle. Take off. Once we get back aboard the Intrepid, have the energy shield on the base dropped. They can beam up the 60 people that we believe are conjoined, and they can keep them in the pattern buffer until we can get to a star base and have medical look at them. And they may get some radiation sickness, but it shouldn't be enough to put them down if we do it fast enough.
Donko, you said you were going to attempt to try and get the research data, right?
Yeah, that was like his first priority. Like anything he said, it was just like he wasn't doing like a full on figuring it out. He's just sort of saying it out loud as Argent was saying something.
So that leads us to the next wrinkle in this station. As you're going through and you're accessing the main computer while Hessel is going through figuring out timeline, things like that, trying to find sensors in all of that data, you're going through and specifically looking for the research data. You have the main computer up, and the primary core for the base and its operations is on this night side base where you are. Unfortunately, the research data is kept in secure drives in the day side of the base, and the terminal link that moves from one side of the base to the other goes through that tram line, which has been damaged. That does not mean the connection is broken, but the bandwidth has been severely limited. You can attempt a daring engineering task with a difficulty 3 to establish a link, but it's going to be a difficult process to try and access that research data.
Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call Cost Communications, and I'm going to increase my my plan so I get more priority bandwidth, and then I'm going to download the stuff just fine. Because I'm held hostage.
All right, they will have
what do I roll for
that? Between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. tomorrow morning.
No. Right. 2 weeks from now, not tomorrow morning.
Engineering and daring. I'll do it.
This is a
I'm
utopia.
down for that.
We'll say tomorrow.
Okay.
It feels like a utopia when we're in a research station where people have been eaten by fried eggs. Okay, so daring and engineering. Difficulty?
Difficulty 3.
Difficulty 3. I don't really think any of my focuses will apply.
This
So
is something that you could be assisted with. Hessel, if you're not working on putting together those logs right away, as a comms officer, this is something that you'd be able to offer a hand with.
So yeah, he'll call out. He'll be like, Commander, it seems as though the bandwidth connection to the drives is it's faulty. It will take some time to actually transfer that data here. If I could get a second hand here, perhaps we could speed up the process.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So why don't you go first, and I'll determine how much
what am I
momentum
rolling
spend.
again?
Daring engineering.
Sorry. Okay, that's 11. I'm just going to keep asking until you say no. Troubleshooting?
Do you have anything comms related?
Communication
systems would be perfect for this.
You're being
Because this
weird
is
if
really
she didn't.
two sides of the base communicating together.
It would be weird, but not surprising if I chose poorly.
So comms officers don't really do anything anymore. It's all pretty automated.
Just have to repeat the computer.
Okay, it's a 6. So a success, but I did not get below my discipline score.
Okay.
All right.
So you need 2 on your own, Donko.
Okay, then I will spend a momentum to get an extra die. So I need to get 2. I don't really have anything. I don't think pattern recognition applies here, and everything else is too sciencey or cultural. So I don't think it would really work. Okay. So that is going to be, so daring engineering is a 13. I have single digis on all my dice, 3, 9, and 5. So 3 successes.
All right, that is exactly what you needed. Difficulty 3. You have established a
4
link,
total.
and the data is now downloading to the main computer on this side of the base. You have the little loading bar that pops up, and the estimated time remaining says 8 hours.
Okay. I'm going to spend my bonus momentum that I get to obtain information. And I guess
say do quickly. Is there a momentum you can spend to have that?
There is. So I will spend the bonus momentum. That's a good idea. Thank you for the reminder. I will spend I think it's 2. I'm trying to remember where it's at.
I'm looking forward to.
I can't remember if that's just reduce time. What am I talking about? It's right there. I'm so dumb. I'll spend my bonus momentum and then 1 momentum, bringing us down to 2 to see if I can reduce the time.
All right. You reduce it down to 4 hours. And it took about a half
enough.
hour or so to start engineering. So you have about 3 hours before Cardassians arrive in the system. It'll be close, essentially. The other option is that you can go to the other side of the base and just pull those drives yourself. You can also do both. You can have it downloading now as you leave ops. You don't need to maintain.
Can reduce time be taken more than once?
On this, I'm going to say no.
Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, he'll brief Argent. He'll say, there's no way we're going to get the data faster unless we physically go over to the other side.
Well, we need to pull the drives anyway. We can't leave them behind unless we're planning on destroying the base. If the Cardassians get here before the stellar mass strikes this and takes those drives, we'll have failed anyway. So let's continue the download to ops, pull it off of the main computer, and go pull the drives. That way we can scrub everything and make sure that nothing is left behind.
Argent, as you finish saying that, the doors to ops open. Dvorggern and Talas walk in. Talas, your chest is burning.
Yo, who got injured?
You did, Dr. Talas. You've been infected. You're to stand down. You're going to be under observation. And if you take any actions that are unwarranted, you will be stunned.
Yeah, dude, I know I'm infected, but I can help people while I'm still here. You gotta forget about me and let me do my job.
Your job right now is to follow orders, and you are not going to potentially compromise this mission by turning into one of those kinds of zombies and attacking the crew. So you can stay under observation in here.
Let me lock myself in medical and do research in there. You don't need me here.
Well,
I could find stuff there.
Unfortunately, it seems like the hosts still have some use of their faculties, so locking you someplace where you can unlock is not an option. So we're going to protect you one way or the other.
Well, look, I can do good here. Use your phaser to weld the door shut. Take mine so I can't get out. It's fine.
No,
I will bring you any information.
We're not arguing about this point anymore. We are taking your phaser, and you can do your research from here in ops on the main computer under observation.
Are we going?
I could pull doctor's orders.
You can try, but you've been infected, and we all know that Starfleet regulations has already essentially removed you from command based on your current infected state. So, Doctor, rather than arguing with me, do your research from ops under observation while the rest of us go pull the drives.
I don't see, if you're going to go pull the drives, what the difference would be in locking me in ops versus locking me in medical.
Well, because we need somebody here in ops watching the download and keeping track of the Cardassians and watching you while
Talas,
the rest of us.
I will say also, if you do a quick check of the main computer from ops, you'll find that there are links all over the base, and you can access all of the medical computers from ops if you wish. That's a little different than actually being in medical bay where you have access to the lab equipment, but you'll be able to find all of the research in things like that. And as you quickly look at that to see how well the communication is, you also see that there's already an open comlink up, and it's not the one that Danko just set up. It is going to the far side of the facility, though.
Who set this comlink up?
Danko will take a look since he set the other. It's coming from the other side of the facility. Wait a second.
I did not set it up.
You look at it and you pull up the view screen, and it's a view comlink, and it looks as if it's connected to an office on the day side of the facility, but there's no one sitting in the chair. Instead, propped on the desk in front of the viewer is a pad, and it has an active reading of the Dran Ankos star, the star that you know is very quickly losing stability. It's difficult to make out any of that reading whatsoever, due to an odd symbol drawn onto the surface of that pad. Hessel, you said you were looking at it, and we've talked about how you're familiar with a bit of Vulcan customs already. You would realize that this symbol that's drawn on here is drawn in green blood. Talas, you would know. You've seen this before. Hessel, you'd be able to identify it. It's the Vulcan symbol for the end, as in like end times, not just final.
Oh dear, that is the end. And this office is on the other side of the tram line?
Yes.
Argent, are we still going to the other side of the tram line?
We have to. We've got to pull the drives.
And Doc staying here?
We're either all going together or a couple of us are staying in ops. I'm all right if we all go together. Zharg, you're responsible for Dr. Talas as we head to the other side.
I need to do research. If I'm going to do anything for these people, I need to see what their medical information is.
Then you're staying in ops. Do I have a volunteer to stay with the doctor?
Can I ask a question before anyone volunteers? The transporter issue is because of the shielding and stuff that's up here.
Yes.
Can we coordinate, now that we have power, lowering the shield and timing a transport from site to site with the Intrepid?
So that we lower the shield for just enough time for the transport to go off, likely won't ruin the tram line if you do it properly. So it would require engineering test to do so. But if you time it correctly, hopefully you won't cause any structural damage.
Well, if we're transporting anyway, I mean, we don't really care that much about this tram line taking damage if we manage to pull the drives.
But there's even more reason now to leave someone behind so that they can turn the shields down, turn the shields, bring the shields down and then bring them back up so that when we want to transport back, we can. It's
a good plan, Danko. Let's coordinate that with the Intrepid then.
So if I
who's going to be babysitting our infected doctor?
Don't need babysitting. I'll hypospray myself when I start losing proper control.
That's not going to happen.
So is this? So what's just to meta this a little bit? So what's the role going to be to manage the shield and the?
It's literally it's always engineer. Like everything's engineer.
The stuff I'm good at.
Sorry.
It's like it's never science. It's always engineering.
I'm going through the official adventure. Granted, it is first edition, but it is always coming up engineering. I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault.
So I'm not the best, but I'm also average.
I have a 4.
Yeah, also 3. Also have a 3.
Yeah, I also have a 3. It feels like Zharg should go with the group that's traveling.
Yeah, Vice will volunteer to stay back because Vice does have medicine. And he is good with sensor because I feel like everything's engineering. So here he could potentially try to. I have an idea of something I can do with sensors if I'm allowed to do it. So I might try to do that. And plus I have medicine, so I might be able to help Talas if something goes wrong.
All right.
And if she turns on me and I get killed, you just got to put my little stomach baby in a Ferengi and we're good.
I'm sure there's unjoined Trill on the ship.
I love that you consider yourself to only be playing one of the two beings in the body. The body itself doesn't matter. It's the Trill that's important.
He's lived a long life. He's an old man.
Is important.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So Zharg, Hessel, and Argent, you start making your way to the tram line. You have to go down the turbo lift.
We're gonna do a site to site transporter, right?
Oh, is that the plan then?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So you call for the Intrepid, and you get the transport chief. Hold on one second here. I got notes on this somewhere.
Is he Irish?
Well, by the time Zharg
Chief Petty Officer Bowser McCrae.
I'm sorry?
Bowser?
Bowser?
Bowser McCrae.
It wasn't even me this time.
I didn't Lieutenant Commander, what can I do for you?
Chief McCrae, soon as the energy shield around this facility drops, we need a site-to-site transport from our current location. And then he gives them the grid location of where we need to be transported to.
Not be a problem at all. Shortly, I'll send down the shields. I'll send you over. We'll have it over in a jiff.
Excellent. Stand by, because once
how many am I sending?
3. There'll be 3 of us going. It'll be me, Dvorggern, and Hessel. Once we're there, we're pulling drives, but stand by. We're going to need another emergency transport back.
Oh yeah, no problems at all, except for one tiny little problem. I'm reading that there are 8 life forms in ops right now.
In our current
Talas
location?
will check the body next to the window with hearing that.
Well, we brought in the people we knocked unconscious into ops. So,
I Lieutenant Commander, I wasn't even counting them.
What life signs are you reading, McCrae?
It's a little fuzzy. They keep changing around on me. At first, it starts with 5, and then it becomes 7, and then it becomes 8, and then it just kind of starts over again.
Transport down pattern buffers to our location, then lock into my code, Dvorggern's code, and Hessel's code once we have the pattern buffers up.
All right. Yeah, I think that won't be a problem. Are you sure there ain't anybody else in there with you?
McCrae, don't worry about what's going on down here. Do your job. We don't have a lot of time to screw around, Chief.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize that we were under a time crunch. Of course, I'll have that right down.
Hessel's just waving around the UV light around the room, just for while we're just seeing.
One thing Danko would want to do, hearing that, is trying to see if there's like the light emitters in this in the actual ops center. Get them constantly strobing. So I just want to have this like a nightclub that he and Ian Montero hang out in.
Epilepsy warning.
What? So it's just going to be a constant like nightclub in here.
Sorry, I was just trolling with engineering because it's always engineering. So let's handle the transporting first. Okay. And that's going to be, I think, daring engineering sounds right for this. And timing it right with getting the shields down, getting the buffer sent down and then attached and then sent back up.
Am I rolling
over. Whoever wants to handle this, whoever wants to handle the shields.
This has to do
engineering, daring,
transporters.
Well,
shouldn't that be Chief
teleported? Well, yeah, it's not. It can't be any of the people who are being teleported. So it's got to be either Talas, myself, or the NPC.
I've got a 13.
McCrae is handling the actual transporting. This is to handle taking down the shields,
the shields.
And putting them back up.
I also have 13. So
go for it. I'll help you. Okay. Let's get this over with so I can concentrate on the medical information I need.
We'll get you access. Calm down. You gonna roll assist first?
Yes, I'm going to roll this dice. Nope, that's an 18.
Okay. What's the difficulty? What's the difficulty of the rolls, Stephen?
It's difficulty 3.
Oh God.
There is a lot of momentum since Dvorggern lied to Talas. Really,
I think we've used a little bit of it. There's 2, so I'll use the 2, and then I'll give you an extra threat, so I can get 2 more dice. All
right. You're giving me 2 threats?
Yeah.
1 threat.
One threat, just 1. Yeah. Okay. And then this is about, I don't know. Doesn't pattern recognition doesn't feel right, so I'm gonna say none of my focus applies. Okay. Right. All right. So I got a 15. That's no good. An 11. That's good. A 9 and a 12. And I said 13. Yeah, 13 is my target. So that's 3 successes on the dot.
All right. With 1 from Talas, right?
No, I rolled way too high.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood. So that's 3 exactly. Shields go down. Transport buffer is transported in, connects to you specifically. What is that? Like a little piece that you attach to yourself for the transport lock?
The little 3 pylon things that go around it.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. All right. So we got our triangulating transport buffers set up real quickly with shields go back up, shields go down again. Bowser McCrae transports you off. We see Zharg, Hessel, and Argent disappear then, leaving just Danko and Talas. Talas, your chest is burning.
I would like to start doing some emergency medicine on myself at some point.
We'll get there in a second. We see the 3 of them. The noise comes up, the woo, and then they start to disappear. Danko and Talas, you hear Bowser McCrae come in. We're having a bit of a wee little problem with the radiation. I might be losing them. Oh no, I think I could. I don't know what happened there. And they don't come back.
They were supposed to come back. They were supposed to be teleported to a different location.
Talas to Argent.
No response.
Okay. Where are they? Check that. Like, if we all have locators. Like, where are they?
Yeah. So I think I would say for sure they're on the other side of the base. Absolutely, yes.
Where on the other side of the base, and how close were they?
Well, I believe they'd be in the research side of the base. Yeah.
Talas is
So-
going to pull out the tricorder to see what the life signal numbers are doing.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Life signal numbers have not changed.
So 23, 44, 920.
920.
So basically, it worked. It was a transporter malfunction, and it put them not where they wanted to go.
As far as you can tell, yes.
One thing I can
Okay.
tell for sure is that Chief McCrae is going to very quickly find
yeah.
himself being a private and scrubbing toilets.
Oh, I was just going to shoot him out an airlock. Like, are you kidding? Like, it's Starfleet. These are good. These are quality people. Everyone's quality. You don't get people like that. It's ridiculous.
Hey, you got Dr. Talas there, okay?
I'm very good at my job. Thank you very much.
Shots
speaking
fired.
of which, Talas, you're thinking about doing emergency aid. Donko, you're there. You're trying to figure out where the heck the rest of your away team went. And that's when you
No, I'm not actually. I don't. I can't do anything about it. I am.
You were
trying to
talking
get
about
the
the sensors,
strobes.
so that's why.
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to get
So
the
you're working
strobes
on
up.
the strobes then. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when you hear, coming from the hull, a loud metallic crashing.
Immediately make sure the doors are locked.
Dude, phaser the door, weld it shut.
I was going to weld it shut. There's just security. I'm just going to essentially lock it and
The door
erect
is- yes.
a level 2 force field. We have power now.
You're able to, we'll say quickly get on the computer. You're able to set up a security force field.
Is it level 2?
It's level 2.
Okay.
Tension is high right now. We're missing 3 out of our 5 away team. The force field is up. The metallic crashing was a one and done. You don't hear any more movement or anything like that outside.
Okay. I want to get us secure in here. So in addition to that, I do want to have the strobing UV light in here. Like you keep delaying me, damn it, and I want to make sure it's done because when you spring whatever on me, there's AOE stunning happening.
I would like to do my medical check.
Yeah.
Tell us, get your medical check. Donko, I'm not going to require a check for this. It's going to be simple engineering. You're going to be able to start working on this.
Simple engineering.
Wait, start working on it
Wait,
or
I heard
get
that
it done?
too.
You keep delaying it. Like I want it done right now. I want it done right now. I've been asking for it
Tell
for
us,
15
we were going to
minutes.
do medicine real quick, Talas.
Yes.
Insight medicine, Talas.
Insight medicine. And we're out of momentum again.
You are out of momentum.
Okay, then I'm going to use my daring value being sometimes hope is a choice to get a 1 out of mine. I do have a focus on emergency medicine. So I will roll. I still pass easy. So that is 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay. This was difficulty 2 here. So you're able to bank a momentum or spend it if you want to obtain information. Specifically, you were trying to do emergency medicine on yourself to see how infected you were.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good news. While there is they're like jellyfish tentacles, these nerves that grow into you and they attach to your nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
Where it hit you is actually fairly far from your spine where it needed to be, your central nervous system. And it didn't hit any major nerve points as well. It appears as if it's sort of like stalled out in your system. There's a point where it grew, and because it didn't find anything, it has not quite attached. And that's why you're not feeling any sort of compulsions or anything like that. You're not hearing anything telling you to do something.
Mm-hmm.
It's causing localized pain, but it appears as if it's not compromised you.
Okay, so Talas will do what hypospray kind of the area to numb it and just kind of cut in and pull out what she can right there in front of Danko.
Okay. You're gonna be slicing in with like the little laser from your medical tricorder. and you're able to pull out as much as you can. Donko, you're not watching this because you're working on the lights, but she is occasionally interrupting you with little chunks of nerve flesh. And we're going to cut to our away team here.
Hang on. I want to point out she performed solo surgery on herself. There's no way that takes longer than it takes me to just very quickly adjust. I can adjust the lights in my house right now in like 30 seconds.
Jeff, you're getting so excited about this. I have to just say that it
computer
takes longer.
strobe lights.
Just saying.
This is just me trolling you at this point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we are cutting to our away team. And for you all, no time has passed. As you reappear, it seems perfectly fine with no sort of complication on your end. And you find yourself in what appears to be the center of this research area. It's the main research area. There's a wide open area with lots of tables and consoles that you can actually see through, so you can see from one side to the other. There is a window, but it's got a tint to it because it's so much brighter on this side of the base. There are a few offices and storage lockers off to one side, but all of your attention is drawn to the other side, where you see a person dressed what you would in a Vulcan ceremonial garb, this white robe, and then holding this large staff, on one side of which is this fanned blade. On the bottom side is this large club. Those of you familiar with Vulcans would know that this is a Therpa, a ceremonial Vulcan weapon. He is facing away from you towards the tinted window, and very clearly you see a dozen of these cell-like beings on him. You see them covering his head, all over his back. They're attached through this robe. You can see if he makes the slightest movement, the robe itself doesn't move because of the piercers from these cells going into him. And you see him attempting to just, with every bit of his energy, focus on a console in front of him. The transporting was quiet. It seems that he's not aware of you. What are you doing?
Commander Argent will telepathically link with Hessel and Dvorggern, or at least telepathically communicate. I don't trust that this commander is doing anything that's going to be working in our favor. We need to drop him so we can try to save his life and get this information from this base. So spread out, stun him from 3 different directions. If any of those things move off them, use the UV on your tricorders to distract them and then burn them out. I'm going to leave my phaser on kill maximum setting to deal with them. The 2 of you stun the commander.
With
So
that
Hessel
plan,
will swing out to the right.
as soon as you take a step in this research facility, your soft boot clinks on the metal floor, and you see the head immediately pop up of Commander Vital. The pain is clarity. I know what I must do. We're going to fade to black there for the session. We'll come back next week and see how you're able to respond here. I see we got Matt in the Hat rating us too as well. Thank you for joining us. We're going to pay that raid forward here in a minute. But thank you all for playing. I hope you had fun. Unfortunately, those lights are a little bit trickier than we would have thought.
Oh no.
Who knows? We may not even be able to get them finished next session. Star Trek, complications happen.
Wow.
I'm going to spend 2 threat right now to say that those lights just burst and there are no more bulbs.
Wow.
I can't wait till next session when I keep you muted the entire time and I just narrate everything that happens as I communicate. to the rest of the stream.
I just wanted to see
yeah.
what was going to happen to you on the next Call of Cthulhu. That's all.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Your
It's so
passion
weird.
makes for great entertainment. So thank you
Steven
for suffering
makes-
for the audience.
Steven makes characters that intentionally troll the party he's in and the GM running the game. I literally make a helpful character that's trying to just be helpful. That's all I'm trying to do. And that's apparently not good enough for Steven.
Wouldn't know.
Nope,
what
I
that's
still
like.
make NPCs that troll you. It's not about trolling the GM. It's about trolling you, Jeff.
I am going to murder that teleportation engineer.
Chief McRae.
With my bare
He's done.
hands.
Chief McRae is done.
Ridiculous.
Not Bowser.
Yes,
Bowser.
Bowser.
Shoutouts. Aaron, what do we got going on with Garblag?
Yeah, join us tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where I will be the narrator and we will be continuing Marvel's multiverse role-playing game, The Cataclysm of Kang. We're coming very close to ending that, so check it out. Then on Thursday at the same time, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Ben is going to be running us through the finale of the short run of The Walking Dead. Before Richard takes over the con the following Thursday with season 2 of Imperium Maledictum.
Fantastic. I'm excited to see your finale of Marvel. I've really been enjoying watching you GM that. I've learned a lot.
Thanks.
It's been fun to watch.
Thank you.
Jeff, what do we got going on with Lollygaggers?
Stuff, but don't you have something to talk about first?
Oh shit, I do. I almost forgot. I almost forgot what's completely consumed my entire life lately. I've made a tabletop RPG called Huckleberry. It's a Weird West game. It's a lot of fun. It's got a cool goat demon covered in blood on the cover. The art is just beautiful, and I'm happy to say that because I didn't do any of the art, so I'm very proud of it. The writing itself, it was okay, and then Jeff, who is my fantastic editor, really punched it up to amazing. He essentially rewrote the whole thing, so you know it's good. So yeah, you should check it out. It's on Drive-Thru RPG right now. It's in early access. It's getting a whole bunch of updates. I've got several updates in the works right now, and we're gonna have a big drop very soon. So check it out. I'm very excited for it. Now, Jeff, what do we got going on with Lollygaggers?
Yeah, man. Let's see. Thursday is our next game. You can see a bunch of us on the screen here, with the exception of Derek and Steven. We are playing through some Arzium, which is a new, like, kind of fantasy, whimsical, steampunkian type game by the makers of some board games that a few of us on the screen really, really love, and they're dabbling in the TTRPG waters. So we've been giving that a run. Friday, we're playing some Delta Green. And we're high in the desert still. We've been high in the desert, it feels like, for 2 months now. But yeah, we still are.
Time is always fluid when you're high, though, so that makes sense.
Yeah, Saturday, you can come watch us play more Call of Cthulhu. We have arrived in Bangkok. We have sadly brought in a second character from Steven, who will probably not be staying in the party for very long. And then Monday, our good friend Chuck is going to be running some Skin City for us. He's got a Kickstarter running right now, so you can kind of get a look at what that game might be like if you're interested in backing. And then, are we playing next Tuesday? Are we up next Tuesday?
As far as I know, I'm running next Tuesday.
Weren't you out like a week or something?
Yeah, but that was not on Tuesday.
Okay. All right. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Don't heaven forbid you miss. Yeah, I see how it is. All right. That's it for us. Let's go ahead and let's go Perception Studio. So have a great rest of your night. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all later. And bye-bye.
Live long and prosper.